The ground shatters beneath me like splintering glass. "Ryan!" My desperate scream vanishes into the chaos of crumbling walls and terrified shrieks. Our fingertips nearly touch, just inches apart, when his eyes suddenly shift past me. Something behind me steals his attention. Someone. And in that crystallized moment, suspended between breaths, I see it all. The hesitation, the choice, the truth I've been blind to for 5 years. Blood trickles down my temple as the chandelier crashes nearby. I thought we were celebrating our anniversary. I thought he loved me. I thought wrong. I should have known something was off the moment we arrived at La Maison, the city's most exclusive restaurant. Ryan had insisted on this place specifically, even though we'd always joked about how pretentious it was. "Only for our special night," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "Only the best for you, Emily." The maitre d' had led us through the elegant dining room, crystal chandeliers dripping with light above tables draped in crisp white linen. Ryan kept checking his phone, which wasn't unusual. He was always just handling work stuff. But tonight his eyes scanned the room with unusual intensity. "Is everything okay?" I'd asked, reaching across the table for his hand. He'd flinched before forcing a smile. "Perfect. Everything's perfect." That's when I saw her, 3 tables away, sitting alone with a glass of red wine. Sophia, his ex-girlfriend, the woman he dated for 4 years before me, the one he swore was just a friend now. Her gaze lifted, connecting with his for a heartbeat too long before she looked away. My stomach had twisted into a knot. "Ryan, isn't that just a coincidence?" He'd cut me off, suddenly very interested in the wine list. "She probably has a date or something." But no date ever appeared at her table. I remembered the text messages I'd found last week while looking for a photo on his phone, the ones he'd quickly dismissed as work-related when I questioned who S was. I remembered the late-night calls he'd take outside on our balcony, his voice dropping to a whisper whenever I walked nearby. I remembered the coincidences of running into her at the grocery store, at the gym, at the coffee shop around the corner from our apartment. The waiter had just delivered our appetizers when the first tremor hit. A gentle vibration at first, like a subway train passing beneath the building. Wine glasses clinked. Conversations paused. Ryan and I locked eyes across the table. "Is that?" I started. Then the world exploded. The floor bucked like a wild animal, throwing me from my chair. Crystal shattered. People screamed. The massive chandelier above the central dining area swayed dangerously before tearing free from the ceiling. In seconds, the elegant restaurant transformed into a scene from a disaster movie. "Emily!" Ryan's voice cut through the chaos as he crawled toward me, the floor still convulsing beneath us. I reached for him, relief flooding through me. Whatever my suspicions, whatever those texts meant, he was coming for me. He would protect me. We would get through this together. Our fingertips nearly touched. Then his eyes shifted past me, widening with horror at someone behind me. In that fraction of a second, I saw his face transform. The polite affection he showed me was replaced by raw, unfiltered emotion. Fear, desperation, love. But not for me. "Sophia!" he screamed. The ceiling cracked open with a deafening roar. A support beam crashed down between us, sending me scrambling backward as dust and debris rained from above. Through the swirling chaos, I saw Ryan change course, crawling in the opposite direction, away from me, toward her. "Ryan!" I screamed again, pinned beneath a fallen section of decorative moulding, not heavy enough to crush me, but enough to trap my leg. The pain was immediate and blinding. "Ryan, help me!" He looked back once, our eyes meeting across the devastation. "I'll come back for you!" he shouted, his voice nearly drowned by the groaning building. "I promise!" I watched, helpless, as he reached Sophia where she crouched beneath an overturned table. Her face was streaked with tears, her designer dress torn at the shoulder. With surprising strength, Ryan lifted her into his arms, cradling her against his chest with practiced tenderness, exactly the way he'd held me after my father's funeral 3 years ago. Their eyes locked in the flickering emergency lights, communicating something wordless yet intimate. A history I wasn't part of, a future I suddenly saw with terrifying clarity. "Ryan!" I screamed one last time as they disappeared through the emergency exit, leaving me behind as our aftershocks continued to tear apart the floor around me, burying me deeper with each rumble. Hours passed in a nightmare of dust and darkness. The restaurant had emptied of survivors, leaving only the wounded and the dead. My voice had long since given out from screaming. The pain in my leg had dulled to a throbbing ache, overwhelmed by the sharper agony in my chest. He didn't come back. Sometime later, minutes or hours, I couldn't tell, a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. "We've got a live one here," a voice called out. Strong hands gently lifted the debris off my leg. A paramedic's face appeared, concern etched in the lines around his eyes. "Can you hear me, miss? Can you tell me your name?" "Emily," I whispered, my throat raw. "Emily Walker." "You're going to be okay, Emily," he said, sliding a neck brace around me. "The worst is over." But he was wrong. The worst was just beginning. The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and pain medication. At the hospital, doctors rushed me through a series of tests: X-rays, Connecticut scans, blood work. Moderate concussion, fractured tibia, multiple lacerations requiring stitches, severe contusions. I was one of the lucky ones, they told me. I didn't feel lucky. Hours later, lying in the sterile quiet of my hospital room, I stared at my silent phone. No calls, no texts, nothing from Ryan. A young nurse entered, checking my vital signs. Her eyes were red-rimmed from what must have been an endless shift of disaster victims. "Is there someone we can call for you?" she asked gently. "My boyfriend," I said, the word suddenly strange on my tongue. "He was with me at the restaurant." "Name?" "Ryan Collier." Her eyes widened slightly. "Wait, tall guy, dark hair, grey suit?" I nodded, hope flickering. "Have you seen him?" "He brought in a woman earlier, carried her right through the ER doors, wouldn't leave her side, even when security tried to move him to the waiting area." She paused, realizing what she was saying. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize." "Is she still here?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "The woman he brought in?" The nurse checked her tablet. "Sophia Mendez? Yes, just a few rooms down. Minor injuries." Sophia Mendez. The name felt like a knife between my ribs. So much for the just friends story Ryan had been feeding me. Just friends don't typically dine alone at romantic restaurants on the same night as your anniversary. Just friends don't inspire that look I'd seen in his eyes. "And Ryan?" The nurse checked again. "He's listed as her emergency contact." Not me, her. After the nurse left, I lay back against the pillows, piecing together the fragments of truth I'd been ignoring for months. The business trips that mysteriously coincided with her being out of town as well. The password-protected folder on his laptop labelled investment options that I'd discovered last month. And the diamond ring hidden in his desk drawer. Was it really meant for me, or was I just the convenient placeholder all along? The room spun around me, and it had nothing to do with my concussion. 5 years. We'd been together for 5 years, living together for 3, planning a future, or so I thought. All this time, had he been maintaining some kind of relationship with her? Was I the other woman without even knowing it? A text alert broke the silence. Not my phone. It remained dark on the bedside table. The sound came from Ryan's jacket, which someone had draped over the chair beside my bed. He must have left it when he came to check on me while I was in radiology. With shaking hands, I reached for the pocket, telling myself I just wanted to let him know where to find it. The screen lit up with notifications. "Sophia, where are you?" Sophia, the doctor says I can leave. Are you coming back? Sophia, I can't stop thinking about what you said in the ambulance. Did you mean it? And finally, Sophia, I've always loved you too. I never stopped. My fingers went numb. The phone dropped to the blanket as the room tilted around me. Through the hospital window, I could see emergency vehicles still racing through the city streets, their lights pulsing against the darkened buildings. Somewhere out there, people were still being pulled from the rubble. Somewhere out there, lives were being shattered in ways that had nothing to do with falling buildings. I slipped my hand back into his jacket pocket, fingers closing around something small and metallic. Pulling it out, I stared at the delicate gold earring nestled in my palm. A small diamond winked in the dim light, expensive, elegant, and definitely not mine. The door to my hospital room swung open. Emily! Ryan's voice cracked as he stepped inside, his face pale beneath smears of dust and dried blood. Thank God you're okay. They wouldn't tell me anything at first. He rushed to my bedside, grabbing my hand. I tried to come back for you, but the police had cordoned off the building. They wouldn't let anyone back in. I stared at him. This man I thought I knew better than anyone in the world. This man who just lied directly to my face without missing a beat. Because I knew that wasn't true. A teenage busboy who'd been brought to the same hospital had already told me what really happened. How he'd seen Ryan and Sophia huddled together under an emergency blanket across the street from the restaurant, Ryan's arms wrapped protectively around her shoulders, neither of them making any attempt to alert rescue workers about me still trapped inside. Ryan's phone buzzed again in my lap. His eyes dropped to it, then widened as he realised what I might have seen. Emily, I can explain. Ryan reaches for the phone, but I clutch it tighter, pulling it away from his grasp. Explain what, exactly? My voice is remarkably steady despite the hurricane of emotions tearing through me. How you left me buried under rubble while you played hero for your ex-girlfriend. Or how you're apparently her emergency contact. Or maybe... I open my palm, revealing the glittering earring. You'd like to explain this? The colour drains from his face. I've never seen someone literally go pale before, but Ryan does, from flushed to ashen in the span of a heartbeat. That's not... He starts, then stops, his eyes darting between the earring and my face. Where did you find that? In your jacket pocket, I say, keeping my voice low to prevent it from cracking. The same jacket you were wearing at dinner. Our anniversary dinner, which Sophia just happened to be attending. Alone. His phone buzzes again in my hand. I glance down to see another message from Sophia. Sophia, the doctor discharged me. I'm waiting in the lobby. Take your time with her. Not even the courtesy of using my name. She's waiting for you, I say, tossing him his phone. In the lobby. Apparently, her minor injuries warranted a discharge before my broken leg and concussion. Ryan catches the phone reflexively, staring at the screen. Something in his expression shifts, an internal calculation happening behind his eyes. Emily, please, he says, his voice dropping to that gentle tone he uses when he wants to diffuse an argument. You've been through a traumatic experience. We both have. Maybe we should talk about this when you're feeling better. When exactly will I feel better about being abandoned during a natural disaster? I ask, my calm finally starting to crack. Next week? Next month? On our next anniversary? If we'd have one. A nurse appears at the door, her eyes moving between us. Everything okay in here? We heard raised voices. Everything's fine, Ryan says automatically, flashing his perfect smile. The same smile that charmed me at a friend's barbecue 5 years ago. The same smile that convinced me he was over his ex. The same smile that's been lying to me all along. Actually, I say, my voice suddenly strong, I'd like him to leave. The nurse nods, giving Ryan a pointed look. Sir, visiting hours are almost over anyway, and the patient needs rest. Ryan's jaw tightens, but he nods. Of course. He turns to me, leaning down to kiss my forehead. I turn my face away. His lips brush my hair instead. "I'll come back tomorrow," he whispers. "We'll work this out. I promise." Another promise. Just like when he promised to come back for me at the restaurant. Sleep evades me that night. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back in the restaurant, watching Ryan carry Sophia to safety while leaving me behind. The morphine dulls the physical pain but sharpens the questions that circle like vultures. What else has been a lie? Morning brings no answers, but does deliver an unexpected visitor. A young man in a hospital gown shuffles into my room, an IV pole rolling beside him. "Miss Walker?" he asks nervously. "I'm Miguel. I was the busboy at La Maison." "You're the one who saw them outside," I say, recognizing him from our brief conversation yesterday. He nods, fidgeting with his hospital bracelet. "I wanted to make sure you were okay, and..." He hesitates. "There's something else you should know." My heart sinks. What is it? "They're saying on the news that the earthquake was just the beginning," he says, lowering his voice. "That there could be bigger ones coming. Aftershocks have been getting stronger." As if on cue, the floor trembles slightly beneath us. Nothing like the violence of yesterday, but enough to send Miguel grabbing for his IV pole to steady himself. "But that's not why I came," he continues once the shaking stops. "It's about your boyfriend and that woman." "Ex-boyfriend," I correct him automatically. A small smile touches his lips. "Good. Because I think you should see this." He pulls out his phone and pulls up a video. "I was taking my break when they came in that night. I record the celebrities sometimes. We get a lot at La Maison. I wasn't trying to spy, I swear." He hands me the phone. The video shows the restaurant's entrance, filmed discreetly from what must be the staff area. Ryan enters first, checking his watch. He speaks briefly with the maitre d', then steps aside to wait. 2 minutes later, according to the timestamp, I enter, waving to him from the door. But what strikes me is what happens before I arrive. Sophia enters through a side door, has a quick, intense conversation with Ryan that involves him gripping her shoulders. Then she moves to her separate table. "They planned it," I whisper, the final piece clicking into place. "They arranged to be there at the same time." Miguel nods solemnly. "There's more." He takes the phone back, scrolling to another video. "After they got out of the restaurant, when they thought no one was watching." This video is shakier, clearly filmed during the chaos after the earthquake. Through dust and emergency lights, I see Ryan and Sophia huddled under a blanket, across from the partially collapsed restaurant. They're talking intensely, their faces close together. Then, unmistakably, they kiss. Not a friendly peck, but deep and passionate, his hands cradling her face like she's the most precious thing in the world. My stomach lurches. The timestamp shows this was just 15 minutes after the earthquake hit, while I was still trapped inside, screaming his name. "I'm sorry," Miguel says, taking his phone back when he sees my expression. "But I thought you should know the truth." "Thank you," I managed to say through numb lips. "For showing me." After Miguel leaves, I lie back against the pillows. A strange calmness washing over me. It's the calmness of complete certainty, of finally seeing through murky water to the bottom of a pond. No more questions, no more benefit of the doubt, just clarity, painful and perfect. The doctor visits mid-morning, checking my injuries and delivering good news. I can be discharged tomorrow if someone can help care for me during recovery. My mother has already arranged to fly in from Phoenix. "What about aftershocks?" I ask, remembering Miguel's warning. "Are they getting worse?" The doctor's expression grows serious. The seismologists are concerned. This wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a sequence they've been monitoring. They're advising everyone to prepare for the possibility of more seismic activity in the coming days. After he leaves, I reach for my phone and open my banking app. 5 years with Ryan, 3 living together. Our finances are dangerously entangled. Joint checking, shared credit cards, both our names on the apartment lease. I start making calls to the bank, to my landlord, to my boss, explaining my absence. Each conversation is another step toward disentangling my life from Ryan's. By lunchtime, I've arranged for new accounts, alerted the credit card companies, and started the process of finding a new place to live once I've recovered. It's amazing how quickly you can dismantle a life when you have no choice. The soft knock on my door in the late afternoon doesn't surprise me. I've been expecting him. Emily. Ryan enters carrying an enormous bouquet of lilies. My favourite. His eyes are red-rimmed, his usually perfect appearance rumpled. How are you feeling? Better, I say truthfully. Clarity has that effect. He places the flowers on the side table and pulls up a chair beside my bed. We need to talk about what happened. Which part? I ask. The part where you abandoned me during a natural disaster? The part where you've been carrying around another woman's jewellery? Or the part where you were kissing her while I was still trapped inside the restaurant? His head snaps up. What are you talking about? Miguel showed me the videos, Ryan, I say quietly. I saw you with her before we arrived at the restaurant. I saw you kissing her afterward, while I was still inside, while I was screaming your name. The colour drains from his face. It's not what it looked like. Then what was it? I challenge, because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been having an affair with your ex-girlfriend. It looks like you orchestrated our anniversary dinner to coincidentally be at the same place she was dining. It looks like when disaster struck, your first instinct was to save her, not me. That's not fair, he protests. I couldn't get back to you. The building was unstable. Stop lying, I interrupt, my voice deadly calm. Just stop. Miguel saw you. You didn't even try to come back. You didn't alert the rescue workers that I was still inside. You were too busy comforting Sophia. Ryan stands abruptly, pacing the small hospital room. Okay, yes, I kissed her. I was emotional. We both were. We nearly died, Emily. It was a reaction to trauma. And the earring? He freezes mid-pace. And why is she your emergency contact? His shoulders slump. For a moment, I think he might finally tell me the truth. Then his phone buzzes. He glances at it and something hardens in his expression. This isn't the right time for this conversation, he says, suddenly businesslike. You're still recovering. We're both emotional. Let's talk when you come home. I'm not coming home, Ryan, I say simply. At least, not to our home. He stares at me. What are you talking about? My mother is flying in tomorrow to help me. I'll be staying with her at a hotel until I find a new place. I've already called the landlord about breaking the lease. Emily, you're overreacting. Am I? I cut him off, because to me, this feels like the first reasonable reaction I've had in years. I've spent so long ignoring the signs, making excuses for you, telling myself I was being paranoid, but the earthquake showed me who you really are, Ryan. When everything else was stripped away, when it was life or death, your instinct wasn't to protect me. It was to protect her. That's not. It is, I say firmly. And you know what? I'm grateful for it. Because without the earthquake, I might have spent years more with you, never knowing the truth. I might have married you, had children with you, built an entire life on a foundation as unstable as that restaurant. His expression darkens. So, that's it? 5 years together and you're throwing it all away because of one mistake? One mistake? I laugh, the sound harsh in the sterile room. Ryan, you left me to die. That's not a mistake. That's a revelation. The floor trembles beneath us. Another aftershock, stronger than the one this morning. The water in my glass ripples, tiny concentric circles spreading outward. Ryan grabs the door frame to steady himself, a flash of fear crossing his face. The tremor passes quickly, but a tension remains in the air, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. "You should go," I say quietly. "Sophia's probably worried about you." He flinches at her name. "Emily, please, let me explain." "There's nothing to explain," I reply. "The earthquake didn't create this situation, Ryan. It just exposed what was already there." His phone buzzes again. This time, he doesn't even check it before heading for the door. He pauses with his hand on the handle. "This isn't over," he says, not turning around. "We'll talk again when you're thinking clearly." After he leaves, I close my eyes, listening to the distant sounds of the hospital. Somewhere in this building, people are fighting for their lives, their problems so much larger than mine. And yet, my hand strays to my chest, feeling the steady beat of my heart. I survived being abandoned. I survived being buried in rubble. I survived the painful truth. I'll survive what comes next. The ground beneath us has always been moving, scientists say. Tectonic plates shifting imperceptibly beneath our feet, pressure building over years, decades, centuries. We build our lives on this moving ground, pretending it's solid until one day, when the pressure becomes too great, everything breaks apart. I think about the diamond ring I found in Ryan's desk drawer last month. I'd been so excited, thinking it was for me, planning my answer, imagining our future. Now I wonder if it was always meant for her, if I was just the convenient placeholder while he worked up the courage to go back to her. 3 days after the earthquake, my mother helps me hobble through the door of our hotel suite. My leg throbs beneath the walking cast, and my bruised ribs protest with each breath. The doctor warned me about pushing myself too hard, but sitting in that hospital bed, surrounded by the antiseptic smell of betrayal, had become unbearable. "Easy, does it?" Mum says, guiding me to the sofa. Her face is lined with worry, aging her beyond her 62 years. She flew in from Phoenix the moment she heard about the earthquake, not knowing she was arriving for a double disaster, natural and emotional. "I'm fine," I insist, even as pain shoots through my leg. "Just need to sit for a minute." The hotel is one of the few still operating in the earthquake zone, its sturdy construction having weathered the disaster with minimal damage. Through the window, I can see emergency vehicles still crowding the streets and construction crews working to repair damaged buildings. The news has been reporting non-stop about the devastation. 37 confirmed dead, hundreds injured, billions in property damage. I was lucky, they keep telling me. I survived. Some days, that feels like the cruelest irony of all. Mum busies herself unpacking our suitcases. Hers from home, mine hastily packed by her from the apartment I shared with Ryan. She'd gone there while I was finishing my discharge paperwork, slipping in and out while Ryan was at work. Just the essentials, I told her. Clothes, toiletries, important documents. Nothing that would remind me of him. As if I could forget. "He called again," Mum says cautiously, setting a stack of my clothes on the bed. "While you were with the discharge nurse. That's the 6th time today." I say nothing, staring out at the damaged city. The skyline looks wrong now, buildings missing or partially collapsed, like a child's drawing with pieces erased. "Emily." Mum sits beside me, her hand covering mine. "Sooner or later, you're going to have to talk to him. There are practical matters, the lease, your shared belongings, the insurance claim for the restaurant injuries." "My lawyer can handle it," I say, the words automatic. I'd called an attorney from my hospital bed, another step in dismantling my life with Ryan. Mum sighs. "It's not just the practical stuff, honey. For your own sake, you need closure." Closure. Such a tidy word for such a messy process. How do you close the door on 5 years? On what you thought was your future? On the person you believed you'd grow old with? My phone buzzes again. Ryan, for the 7th time today. I silence it without looking at the message. I'll make us some tea," Mum says, recognising my need for space. As she heads to the kitchenette, another aftershock rumbles through the building, mild compared to the original quake, but enough to send anxiety spiraling through my chest. The seismologists on the news have been warning that these could continue for weeks, possibly culminating in another major event. The Earth is still unsettled. So am I. "Did you get the stuff from my office?" I ask, needing to focus on something, anything besides Ryan. Mum nods, bringing over a steaming mug of chamomile. "Your laptop? The family photo albums? And that ceramic bowl you made in college?" She hesitates. "And I found something else. In the hall closet, behind your winter coats." She reaches into her purse and pulls out a small velvet box. My heart stutters. "I wasn't snooping," she says quickly. "It fell when I was grabbing your jacket. I thought you should have it." With trembling fingers, I take the box. It's exactly like the one I found in Ryan's desk drawer a month ago. The one I'd been so excited about, thinking it contained my engagement ring. But that box had been navy blue. This one is black. Slowly, I open it. Nestled against the satin lining is a pair of earrings. Delicate gold hoops with small diamond drops. The identical twin of the single earring I found in Ryan's pocket is winking up at me from the box. "These aren't mine," I whisper, though I already know whose they are. Mum watches me carefully. "I thought maybe he bought them as a gift for you?" I shake my head. "He bought them for Sophia, and apparently she's been in our apartment enough to lose one there." The implications crash over me. Not just an affair, but one conducted in our home, on our bed, while I was away at conferences or working late. The room spins around me, and it has nothing to do with my concussion. "Oh, honey." Mum pulls me into her arms as the tears finally come. Hot, angry tears that have been building since the moment the ground first shook beneath my feet. I cry for the relationship I thought I had, for the future I'd planned, and for the woman I was 3 days ago, trusting, hopeful, blind. When the storm passes, I pull back, wiping my face. "I need to go back to the apartment," I say suddenly. Mum looks alarmed. "Emily, no. You're in no condition." "Not to see him," I clarify. "There are things I need to know. Things I need to see for myself before I can move on." "Can't it wait until you're stronger?" I shake my head. "The doctor said the cast comes off in 6 weeks. The lease is up in 8. I can't spend that whole time wondering, imagining. I need to know the truth. All of it, so I can start rebuilding." Mum searches my face, then nods slowly. "Okay, but not today. Today, you rest. Tomorrow, if you're feeling up to it, we'll go together." I agree, relief and dread mingling in my chest. Tomorrow I'll face the ruins of my relationship the same way. The city is facing its damaged buildings, with clear eyes and a plan for what comes next. That night, sleep refuses to come. Every time I close my eyes, I see Ryan carrying Sophia to safety, her body cradled against his chest. I see their kiss on Miguel's video, passionate and desperate, while the restaurant where I was trapped continued to crumble. I hear his voice, "I'll come back for you," hollow, with a promise he never intended to keep. My phone buzzes with a text, not Ryan this time, but Miguel. "They're evacuating parts of downtown. Seismologists warning of potential major aftershock in next 48 hours. Stay safe." I text back a quick thanks, then drag myself out of bed to look out the window. In the distance, I can see flashing emergency lights and what appears to be people loading belongings into cars. Our hotel is just outside the evacuation zone, but close enough to make me nervous. I watch the distant commotion until my leg begins to throb, then limp back to bed. In the morning, after a fitful sleep interrupted by minor tremors, I'm more determined than ever. My body aches, but something in me has hardened overnight, a resolve crystallizing in place of the shattered trust. "Are you sure you're up for this?" Mum asks as she helps me into her rental car. Her concern is etched in the lines around her eyes, deepened by worry and jet lag. I'm sure, I say, buckling my seatbelt. I checked his work schedule online. He should be at the office until 6. The drive to our apartment, his apartment now, takes us through neighbourhoods transformed by the earthquake. Some streets are closed, forcing detours past buildings wrapped in caution tape, their facades cracked like eggshells. Workers in hard hats assess structural damage, while residents salvage belongings from homes deemed unsafe to occupy. It's like a war zone, Mum murmurs, navigating around a fallen streetlight. Nature's war, I say, watching a family load their van with hastily packed suitcases. No one to blame but plate tectonics. And yet, I can't help but think how similar earthquakes are to relationships. Pressure building silently beneath the surface, fault lines developing over time, ignored until the sudden, violent rupture that changes everything. Our apartment building looks surprisingly untouched from the outside, one of the newer structures built to stricter seismic codes. The doorman nods sympathetically as we enter, no doubt having heard about my injuries. The elevator ride to the 12th floor is silent, the weight of what I'm about to do pressing down on my chest. The apartment key feels foreign in my hand, as if it belongs to a different life. The door swings open to reveal the space I've called home for 3 years, the grey sectional sofa we argued over at the furniture store, the abstract painting we found at a street fair in Santa Monica, the kitchen where we cooked Sunday brunches and hosted dinner parties. Everything looks the same, and yet nothing is. Where do you want to start? Mum asks, hovering near the door. I take a deep breath. His office. Ryan's home office is meticulously organised as always. The desk is clear except for his laptop dock and a framed photo of us from a trip to Hawaii 2 years ago. I stare at our smiling faces, his arm around my shoulders, my head tilted against his chest. Had he been thinking of her even then? I open the top desk drawer, pens, paper clips, sticky notes. Nothing unusual. The second drawer holds files, tax documents, insurance papers, warranties for electronics. I flip through them methodically, not sure what I'm looking for until I find it. A folder labelled investment properties. Inside are printouts of condos and beach houses, all in locations Sophia had mentioned wanting to live someday. I remember her drunk at a party years ago, talking about her dream of a beachfront property in Malibu. The most recent listing is circled in red, a small bungalow with ocean views, perfect for a couple starting fresh. A couple. Not us. Emily, Mum calls from the bedroom, you should see this. I find her standing by the nightstand on Ryan's side of the bed, holding a small black notebook. It was tucked behind the books on his shelf, she says, handing it to me. The notebook is filled with Ryan's neat handwriting, dates, times, locations. Meeting Sophia for coffee while I thought he was at the gym. Dinner while I was working late. Weekend getaways disguised as business trips. The entries go back 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of me obliviously planning our future while he planned his escape. The most recent entry is from the day before the earthquake. La Maison, 8 p.m. S will be there to discuss next steps. Tell E it's for anniversary. My anniversary dinner. The coincidental meeting with Sophia. The earthquake that exposed it all. The ground beneath me seems to shift, though whether it's an aftershock or just my world tilting on its axis, I can't tell. I sink onto the edge of the bed, our bed, clutching the evidence of his betrayal. I need to check one more thing, I say, my voice strange to my own ears. In the back of his closet, behind his winter coats, I find what I'm looking for. A small suitcase, already packed. Clothes, toiletries, his passport, everything he'd need to leave quickly without raising suspicions. He was planning to leave me. The earthquake just accelerated his timeline. I sit on the closet floor, surrounded by the remnants of our life together, and the evidence of its approaching end. The pain is both sharper and duller than I expected, the concrete reality somehow less devastating than the nebulous suspicion. "Emily?" Mum appears in the doorway, concern written across her face. "Are you okay?" "I am," I say, surprised to find it's true. I will be. Just then, the floor beneath us trembles, another aftershock stronger than the previous ones. The building groans around us and something crashes in the kitchen. "We should go," Mum says urgently. "The evacuation—" "Just one more minute," I say, pulling myself up. In the living room, I grab the photo album from the bookshelf, not for the pictures of Ryan and me, but for the older ones tucked in the back. Photos of me before him, reminders of who I was and who I can be again. As I reach for it, the shaking intensifies. Books tumble from shelves. The framed photo of us in Hawaii crashes to the floor, glass shattering across the hardwood. "Emily, now!" Mum grabs my arm, pulling me toward the door as the building sways beneath us. In the hallway, neighbours are rushing toward the stairs, faces tight with fear. The emergency lights flicker as we join the stream of people hurrying downward, my injured leg protesting with each step. Mum's grip on my arm is iron tight, her other hand clutching the wall for balance as the shaking continues. Finally, we emerge onto the street, joining a crowd of dazed residents watching their building shudder and groan. Emergency vehicles are already arriving, sirens wailing, adding to the chaos. And then, through the crowd, I see him, Ryan, running toward the building, face pale with panic. Our eyes meet across the distance, and for a moment time seems to stop. Then his gaze shifts past me, searching the crowd for someone else. Someone not me. Again. In that moment, I understand with perfect clarity what I need to do. Without a word to him, I turn away, taking my mother's arm and limping toward her car. Behind us, the aftershock gradually subsides, the earth settling once more into an uneasy peace. "Where to?" Mum asks as we pull away from the curb. I don't look back at Ryan, still standing there on the sidewalk. I don't need to. 5 years of memories, both real and manufactured, are enough. Some things, once broken, can't be repaired. Sometimes the only way forward is to walk away from the ruins. "Forward," I say simply, "just forward." As we drive away from the neighbourhood I once called home, I realised that while the earthquake shattered the ground beneath my feet, it also cleared the path ahead. Sometimes destruction is necessary for rebuilding. Sometimes you need to lose everything to find what truly matters. They say catastrophes reveal a person's true character in those stripped-down moments, when instinct overrides pretense. In Ryan's case, the earthquake revealed his truth, but it revealed mine, too. That I am stronger than I thought. That I can survive being buried. That I can rebuild from rubble. That after everything falls apart, I will still be standing,